The Olympic break is over for the Flyers. They are back on the ice here in Voorhees, New Jersey. They don't have all of their Olympians back, but this week they did have a bunch of AHL prospects getting an early taste of NHL action. I'm Charlie O'Connor with PHLY Flyers and PHLY Sports, and these are your Flyers post-practice notes. So this was actually the third day the Flyers have been back on the ice here in Voorhees. They had a full week off last week, but this week, even though they don't play in games until next Wednesday and Thursday, they were back on the ice for practice. They're just back getting in the swing of things and getting ready for that final third of the NHL season. Now, none of the Olympians were on the ice today. The Flyers have quite a few of them: Travis Sanheim, Dan Vladar, Rasmus Ristolainen, and then head coach Rick Tocchet. All of them were absent again today. Dan Vladar's Czechia team actually did lose yesterday to Team Canada in a devastating overtime loss. They really played them tough. But Vladar is not back yet. I assume today's probably a travel day. We were told by Flyers assistant coach Todd Reardon that Vladar almost certainly will be on the ice for one of the weekend practices, whether that's Saturday or Sunday. They're not practicing on Friday. They're going to be off that day. But it'll just depend on whether they feel like Vladar needs a day off after travel or if he's ready to get back on the ice. Aside from the Olympic absences, though, everyone else was on the ice with one exception, Garnet Hathaway. And Todd Reardon told us that Hathaway is just a bit under the weather. He's sick, and they don't want him infecting the rest of the team going into this final third of the season. So he was told to stay away from the facility, but the expectation is he'll be back this weekend as well. The rest of the team, though, was out there, and it was a very fun, active, spirited, energetic practice from the group. Denver Barkey was flying around in particular, but really just seemed like the guys are happy to be on the ice. It kind of has served as something of a mini training camp as they prepare for that late stretch of games. But as noted, the guys were keeping it light. New housemates Denver Barkey and Trevor Zegers were doing some post-practice work together. A lot of guys were laughing it up. So it just seems like the Flyers are easing their way back in to the game schedule, and games don't start until next week, so they got some time to prepare for these games to kick back up again. One thing that surely did help them keep it light was some new additions to the Flyers facility this week. With the Olympians not in the building, not practicing, they had some spots they needed to fill in the interim, so they called up some young guys. You had Oliver Bonk, the Flyers' top defense prospect, Carson Bjarnason, one of their top goalie prospects, and Hunter McDonald, who did spend some time up with the team on that road trip a few weeks ago, didn't get into a game. He was back up to get a little bit more time with the big club. Now, this call-up doesn't mean that they're going to actually play in NHL games. This was mostly just to give them an extended taste of NHL action. Again, kind of like a mini training camp in a way, but it's in season. So the NHL guys in particular are definitely in a better rhythm, a better frame of mind, better shape than they were back in September when guys like Bonk, McDonald, and Bjarnason last were on the ice with the big guys. And it sure seems like, according to Todd Reardon, that the Flyers organization, Reardon in particular, he's pretty much running the practices with Tocchet still on the bench for Team Canada. Seems like they've liked what they've seen out of the young guys. It's just given the team a chance to see them up close, see their development, see their progress over the course of the year. According to Reardon, all three have been pretty impressive.
Yeah, I was very impressed with all three of them. And I know Danny and I spoke yesterday about it, and we're going to speak again today about it. And as I had alluded to earlier in the week, it was yes, we needed the bodies to help us with missing a couple defensemen, but it was also a great opportunity to see where these guys are at. And we've seen a little bit of both of them, whether it was before Bonk's injury, him being around, and we saw Mac, prior to the break. But I thought this was just a little bit tougher practice load than they're used to. So I was anxious to see how they did, and I think both of them have, the two defensemen in particular have an upside. They're different types of players. And clearly they were able to showcase some of the stuff that they can do.
We talked to Carson Bjarnason and Oliver Bonk over the last couple days. Both guys were really excited to be on the ice with the big guys. Bjarnason noted that it was a totally different pace than it was in camp. Even though these guys are coming off of a break, they're just at a different gear than they were back in September and even into early October. So it was a good test for guys like Bjarnason and Bonk to see what it's like to match up against NHLers going full blast. That said, they won't be around much longer. Bjarnason confirmed to me on the record, and then Todd Reardon confirmed as well after practice that the group is heading back to Lehigh Valley. The Flyers don't practice on Friday, and the Lehigh Valley Phantoms do play on Friday night, so it makes perfect sense that they're heading back. Now they've got their little taste of a few NHL practices in mid-season. Now they can go back, work on what they learned, and try to have a strong finish to the season with the Phantoms and be ready just in case maybe injuries or trades or something gives them an opportunity to come back up to the NHL level this season. I'm Charlie O'Connor with the PHLY Flyers and PHLY Sports. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.